Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while. Yes, I still have a mullet. Yes, it's as glorious as it ever was. So, bit of a different one today, and it's probably going to be the beginning of a new series for the channel, which is quite exciting. So I have been tasked by a friend of mine to get this back on the road. Some may recognise it, or not recognise it specifically, but know what it is. Others may not. It is a 1987 Sylva Leader, with Sylva being the kit car brand name, Leader being the essentially model number. So this was built in 1987 by my friend's granddad. It looks like it did a total of 4,000 miles and was last on the road in 1992. So it's been off the road in his garage for 31 years. And yeah, over the last couple of years he's tried to sort of get it back up and running and basically get it back on the road so you can use it, take his granddad out in it and stuff, but he's come across quite a lot of hurdles and stuff, time and everything being the main one, and tried to find some garages to give it to, but nowhere local was in the slightest bit interested. Their responses were, it doesn't have an ECU, so we can't do it, which is, I think, a crying shame these days. I think it's almost a bit of a lost talent a lot of the time working on these old cars. So he asked if I'd be interested in, to start with, getting it up and running. The engine hasn't run. It's briefly run for about 20 seconds, but not properly run, and driving, and then hopefully get it for an MOT and get it on the road for him. So I said, yeah, why not? It's quite a nice project. I think there's no rust on it that I've found. Bodywork is in good condition, certainly for its age. So the things I struggle with, the bodywork side of things, is all fine. So it's wiring, mechanicals, engine, maybe clutch, gearbox, that kind of stuff we'll get into, which is all stuff I'm perfectly happy with. And it's a very, very basic kit car, as most kit cars are. So wiring wise, it's basically no different to the Mini. I rewired all that, so that should be fine. There's the engine itself looks to be in good condition. It's I'll show you under the bonnet in a minute. It's a 1600 Ford Crossflow Kent engine. Not entirely clear whether it's from I think they put them in like Escorts and things like that. All the suspension setup and rear axle and stuff is all from a Vauxhall Viva. I believe the Vivas had that engine as well, but I'm not 100% sure. That may be incorrect information on the forums, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a Crossflow 1600. It's on twin Italian Webers, which is good. Apparently the Webers have been rebuilt recently. That was one of the things he did manage to get done. So we'll give them a bit of a check over. Give the engine an overall check over, all the timing setting. At the moment, it doesn't have an exhaust. The only thing we have for an exhaust for it is this here. The manifold, which looks like it's been hacked up quite a lot. Upon showing it to one of my colleagues at work who knows quite a lot about these sort of engines, he, just from a photo, seemed to think it was a standard Mexico Escort part. So I'll find some photos of that and just confirm and if it's something that's available, we might just replace it, because it has been hacked about a little bit. But also, as it has been hacked about, it may be a case of we can't, it is completely custom, in which case we'll either take a view at making a new one, or just tidy it up a bit, put the lambda bung in it, and remake the rest of the system. So I need to confirm with the owner what it is he wants from exhaust system, whether he just wants, because a lot of these had side exits like you typically find on a kit car, and then coming out in front of the rear wheel, but this car, looking at the cutout on the back of the bumper, or back of the clamshell as it were, it had an exhaust coming out the back. Obviously if it comes out the back, there's a added loop you have to go over the axle, so it just makes it a little bit more complicated, but it's all doable. And apparently his granddad used to catch the exhaust on quite a lot of stuff where it was, so hopefully we should be able to improve that, make it all look nice. As you can see, so he managed to buy a new loom for it. I believe, having had a look through a box of bits, it's a Lucas universal kit car loom, which is absolutely fine, should serve a purpose, should work absolutely fine. But it's, there's no plugs on it, there's no terminations on anything, and it's basically just been run and very, very basically connected. So that's going to be one of the first things: get the exhaust on, get the wiring sorted, get that all run throughout the car and make sure it all works. Then get the engine running, set all the carbs up properly as best we can, just from idling. We're not going to be able to drive it just yet, and then start tearing into the rest of the car basically. So it's apparently the engine has run a couple of times, but will only run for about 15-20 seconds and then it cuts out. To me, it sounds like, from what you're saying, it might be the needle valves on the carbs flooding, so it could be the carbs flooding, but until I get into it, I'm not going to know. So we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. The first thing is to get it starting on the key. I don't really want to go into just running temporary wires here and there. I've got to do the wiring anyway, so I might as well start with the wiring, get it done, get it all done properly, and go from there really. So yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting project. Apparently these cars are known for handling and driving very well. They're a bit of a Marmite looking car, not everyone's taste, very boxy, a lot like basically it looks a bit like a short Dutton Phaeton type of kit car, so the complete fiberglass body, but overall they've got quite a following. They're deemed to be quite good cars. Say they handle very well, not very powerful, 1600, be about 100 horsepower on the twin Webers, maybe a bit more. I have no idea what state of tune the engine's in. Looks to be very standard, so probably about 100 horsepower, but it only weighs about 600 kilos, so that's probably almost triple what's in the Mini, and the Mini's great fun. So this being rear wheel drive should feel a bit more lively, very good weight balance as well. So yeah, we just get into it and see where it takes us really. There's the owner doesn't have any real time scale on it, but it would be nice. It would be nice to try and get it done this year, to try and leave me some time to sort the Mini out. So the Mini's coming off the road in the next couple of weeks for winter. I've got a nice long list of jobs to do on it that I never really managed to get done before last time when it came off the road, because I had to rush to get it back on the road because the Discovery blew up. So I've got a nice long list there, and obviously I want to try and finish supercharging it. I got so close last time, I just want to get it finished. So hopefully I'll have enough time this winter, so before February, March time next year, to get this back on the road and get the Mini sorted. But I've said to myself, when the Mini comes off the road, end of October, so we're 9th of October now, so when the Mini comes off the road, end of October. It's not going back on the road until my list of jobs is done. If that's March, April, May, June time, so be it. You know, it's not. I'm not rushing it this time. The last 2 times I've taken it off the road and put it back on, I've ended up rushing it at the end, and it's just lots of unfinished jobs which don't affect its day-to-day running, but just, you know, you look at the car, I quite like taking it to shows and stuff. I don't want it to be a pristine car, but you open the bonnet and the wiring's a mess and all these sort of things. It's just nice to just want to try and, you know, get it a bit more sorted, and yeah, go from there. And at the same time, have a play with a kit car. It's a itch I've been wanting to scratch for a long time of my own. So to get the opportunity to have a bit of a play with one, but you know, it's not mine. I just not, you know, I've got no money in it. It's yeah, be good. Hopefully, good practice, and then yeah, a couple of years time I'll buy my own and yeah, do it all again. But yeah, I'm quite excited for it. I think it's going to be a good project. Bring you guys along, and hopefully you enjoy it. Don't know, we'll see. There's nothing overly complicated. I doubt anyone's going to be learning anything as such, but I'm just going to sort of I'm not going to go into anywhere near as much depth as I did with the Mini, because I felt that was a bit, you know, that was the first time of doing it. A lot of that was for my own personal growth, as it were, me learning both how to do stuff on the car, but also how to do the vlogging side of it as well. I'm far more familiar with that now. I'm still not any good at it, but I'm far more familiar with it, and so it means I think this will be more of an overview, and obviously it's not going to be anywhere near as technical as doing the Discovery. I really enjoyed doing that, but this is now properly back to basics, you know, all just wires, no computers. Really interesting, and hopefully good fun. So I will show you under the bonnet now. So as you can see, it is a big old bonnet, obviously all fiberglass, but still there's quite a lot of weight in there. So one of the first things to do is going to be to get that off, so I can have much easier access. Obviously again, a bit unlike the Mini, although mine being flip front wasn't too bad. Access is just so incredibly good. It's so easy to get to everything on here, so that's going to make life 10 times easier. It's quite nicely laid out, really. You know, it's all box chassis. It's not tubular chassis or anything, but it is what it is. You know, it's a sort of hand-built kit car, which is pretty cool. Say Vauxhall, I believe that's Vauxhall Viva front cross member with wishbones and everything like that. So this is the 1600 crossflow engine, genuine proper Italian Webers 40s. Obviously, as you can see, no exhaust and no battery on it. It's recently had a new starter motor, it's had a new alternator supposedly. So we might look at the water pump, see what that's like. They're not very expensive. It's about 40 quid, I think, for a new water pump. So we might just put a new water pump on there. And basically, yeah, just going to give the engine a check over, check all the tappets, everything like that. Give it a comp test, make sure the engine itself's happy, and then obviously once all the wiring's done, then we'll try and get it running, keep it running. Might give that radiator a flush and everything. It's probably not been. It's probably not that clean inside there, so give that flush, and yeah, just make sure everything works, make sure it's happy. The clutch is going to be a big unknown, so this is meant to look actually. This is a 4-speed gearbox, and so I don't know, I need to look more. I literally only turned up last night, so I haven't really had much chance to have a proper look at everything. Done a little bit looking online. say there's a box of bits, there's a big file of what I assume is history and stuff there, so I'm going to have a look through all that. And yeah, so the clutch is, well, I mean, if it's been sat for 30 years, potentially that clutch is going to be stuck on. So we need to check that's free, make sure that works. We'll have to see, it might mean engine or gearbox out, whatever's easiest to check that and maybe replace it. You know, if it's corroded or something, or re-machine the flywheel. We'll have to see. But yeah, basically it's a engine run, rewire, and give the whole thing a check over. New tyres. It's got they look very, very good condition. No cracking. I mean, that rear is completely brand new. But they are Toyo 600-F3s, and certainly if this one's the same as the other one, they are so old they don't have a date stamp on them. I believe so. I think these might be pre-proxies. So they're Toyo, obviously brand name. So I think these are pre-proxies. They look pretty grippy. They look quite good, but I think they're going to be far too old and hard to use. They feel quite solid. So quite impressed they're not cracked. You know, if they are 30 years old, that's quite impressive. They all seem to hold air. They've held air all overnight, so they might not be as old as that. They might have been replaced more recently than that, but as I say, they don't have date stamps on them. So I think probably I'm going to suggest we replace them anyway, certainly if we're going to be driving it on the road. All the brakes are going to want an overhaul. They've obviously been sat for a long time. Maybe new discs and pads, got drums on the rear, so get them off, have a look. All the front suspension is going to need looking at, and then we're going to have to make a call as to how far we get into it. Obviously we'll check all the ball joints and things like that, but the bushes, the rubber in the bushes is starting to look a little bit cracked and perished. I don't know how readily available things like that are going to be for it, so that might make our decision for us. But either way, it all needs looking at from a safety point of view, and certainly if we're going to try and get it for an MOT, then we need to address that, because it needs to be roadworthy. So yeah, all I'm going to do tonight really, I think, is just get myself familiar with it all, go through the box of bits that we've got, see what we've got, see what I haven't got, try and get an idea of what I need to order, maybe try and get some measurements for exhaust and stuff, see if I can get some bits ordered for that, work out a plan. Might try and jack it up and get off the ground. I think I just need to take the bonnet off before I do that, because I think once I jack it up I don't think I'll be able to open the bonnet past the garage door, so I'll try and see if I can get that off. Although I did notice yesterday a really nice place to take it off will be down here, there, but that is all welded on, so I think the only way I can take this off is by undoing these nuts, which isn't really the nice way of doing it, but needs must. So yeah, this is obviously all the old wiring loom here. You got join there, join there, join there. I want to get rid of all of that. Really neaten all this up, put a nice detachable plug somewhere here, and just have it so it's easily removable. You know, just try and be fairly sensible with the wiring and make it so it looks nice, looks neat, but also is practical. Plugs in sensible places that can come apart. Good quality plugs as well. You know, good quality plugs aren't expensive. Certainly when you're talking this sort of gauge wire, you can get good quality plugs for a couple of quid each. It's worth splashing extra on things like that, because this does have a roof, but as you can see, I very much doubt that has any waterproofing capabilities to it at all, and the doors are just fiberglass, so there's no waterproofness at all. Not that you'd leave it outside, you know, it hasn't got to be weatherproof, but if you get caught in a rainstorm suddenly, you're going to want things to at least be splash resistant. So I think trying to be clever with things like fuse boxes and that, where location of them is going to be key, because at the moment, having just had a bit of a look around it, I can't see any fuse boxes anywhere. There's a big gap on the front bulkhead where potentially one used to live, but I don't know. So yeah, we'll go from there. All just things that, when this car was originally built, 1987, it's basically 1 year older than my Mini. So there was lots of things back then that have come on so much since then. So we can apply some of that newer, it's not technology, but the newer thinking, relaying the headlights, putting in relays to reduce the loads on the switches and things like that, all things like that, just to try and make it as reliable as possible. Ultimately, that's what we're after. We want this to be a car that it's not going to get driven every day. It's probably going to get driven once a month, if that. So we want this to be every time he goes to drive it, it starts on the button, goes. You can stick a battery charger on it permanently just to keep it topped up. But other than that, as long as it's got fuel in it, it should just start on the button and go. That's our aim for this, is to have it a really nice, usable, once a month weekend car. So we'll see how far we get into it, really. I'm not going to know fully what's involved until I just start tearing into it. And as I say, the first two jobs on the list are exhaust. That needs doing, because it's now 8:30 in the evening. I can't go starting and tuning and revving an engine if it's incredibly loud, has no exhaust on it, that sort of stuff. So we'll address that first, and then obviously the wiring. It's got to be done anyway, so I might as well just tidy it all up, get it all running where it needs to go, and then try and take a methodical process to it. So there's lots of gauges on the dash, lots of lights on the dash. I need to figure out what they all do, how they're wired in, because although it's got a new wiring loom, as I said, it is a Lucas one, and it is just universal one, so there probably will be a couple of extra wires that I need to run, but that's all fine and all doable. So I think I'll probably leave that episode here, and tune into the next one where hopefully we'll be a bit further along, and we'll see how it goes, see if people are interested in this sort of stuff, if there's anything specific people want me to show. Say it's probably more of an update thing rather than an actual watching me do it kind of thing. But if there's anything specific people want to know how to do, I'll probably film a little bit more when it comes to actually getting it running and doing the timing, all that sort of stuff, doing some of the checks on the engine. That's probably a bit more interesting for people. I'll film as much as people want to film. If people don't comment or watch it or anything like that, then that's absolutely fine. But it's more of a log for myself, really. So I can sort of see what I've done, and I can show people what I've done, and hopefully people get something out of it. So don't forget to subscribe, stick a comment below if there's something you want me to see, if you've got any questions, anything like that, and give it a thumbs up. That really helps. Thumbs up really helps. See you on the next one. Thank you very much.